Do I need business insurance if I have an LLC? Great question. The simple answer is likely, and I'm going to tell you exactly the purpose of the LLC, as well as 3 specific ways that you can figure out what exact insurance you need if you need any. As entrepreneurs and business owners, we know that if we have a clear plan, anything becomes possible. And if you can have a clear plan, a clear process to create that plan, and a way to create clarity with your partner or spouse, you can drive to amazing heights. All right, so I started my first of 16 companies when I was 19. I've built them, bought them, sold them, and unfortunately wrecked a couple. I have worked with leadership teams and organizations across the world, and I've helped a lot of people grow and scale. And insurance is one of those things that unfortunately seems like an expense until you really need it. So making sure that you do this right is important. And we'll start with the intention of, if you have an LLC, some people are like, well, I've got my LLC, so I don't really need insurance. And that's not really accurate. The purpose of an LLC is to act as an independent entity. So think of it as when you get your employer identification number, when you get your LLC, this is kind of like the business's social security number, and it's starting its own life, and it has its own entity. Now, there are things that you can do, and there's benefits that you may have different insurance rather than running it through your own business. I have, I don't know how many LLCs myself, because it's a way that you can put an asset into an LLC, and it's away from you, but you still get to control it all, and you can have the benefits of it, but you're covered in the event of something bad happening to that asset, or maybe something happens over on this side in a different asset. It's protected in that way. But it's primarily for protection. And how you do things is going to be important. There's a whole bunch of rules on how and you use your LLC, and what expenses you can write off in there, what you can and can't. And we talk about some of those in some of the other videos. But in essence, the LLC is still going to be required to have the legal any legal requirements and insurance that may be required for itself, even if you're the only person in that LLC, if it's a sole member LLC. So the 3 primary ways that you can then go and start to figure out, hey, what insurance do I need? Well, the first one is just start investigating yourself. Start poking around, do your own research. Get an idea of what people are saying. Take it with a grain of salt. You're going to be the ultimate person to decide whether you need things or not. So what you're doing right here, the fact that you're investing the time here, only start looking specifically for your industry. Now, as you start to dig down and start to go further, you may even find trade associations that you could reach out to, and sometimes trade associations will offer insurance through a group discount, but they may say, yeah, these are the kinds of things that you should have. Okay, the next thing you can do is go and talk to other entrepreneurs who already have this business set up, and say, hey, help me understand, what kind of insurance are you running? Because you're likely going to need unemployment insurance. You may need workman's comp type insurance. You're likely going to want to have a liability insurance in case something bad happens with your product or service, so you're covered. If you're using a vehicle, you may need specific vehicle insurance because it may be outside of your own personal insurance. So understanding what those are and see what they're doing and what they're having. Now again, take it with a grain of salt. They may have some good ideas that you can check, but they may not necessarily know either, and they may have some exposure themselves. What I personally believe is the best way to do it, and this is the 3rd way to do it, is to find a great small business insurance person. Not just any insurance person, but somebody who specifically focuses on small business. And you can use this, and I talk a lot about this in my book and in our course, on when you're building your team of advisors. I usually recommend you start with a great small business accountant, somebody who knows your industry, knows your space. That accountant likely will know people, a small business attorney, somebody who specializes in that kind of thing, but they'll also be able to recommend a great small business insurance person. And small business insurance people are fantastic. Now, when you sit down though, most small business insurance people they're gonna want to protect you, that's their job. So they're gonna tell you all sorts of insurance that you may need, you may not. And I break it down into 3 very basic categories. What is the stuff I absolutely, positively need to have to be legal? What type of insurance does that look like? And then you're going to factor that in. The second thing is, well, what would be the type of insurance that maybe isn't required by law, but I really should have? I'd be kind of an idiot not to have it. Figure out what those are. And then the third one is, what is the type of insurance that I could get that would be nice to have? Maybe I don't need it, but it might be nice. So like a business continuity. If you're a solopreneur and you get injured, incapacitated, well, you don't have any revenue coming in. You can actually get insurance, business continuity insurance, that ensures that actually will cover you for a certain period of time while you get back on your feet. But you're gonna pay for it. And all of these things are important, and this is why I really encourage you to go through when you're creating your business plan, and we teach you exactly how to do all of that in the courses with the videos and the whole 9 yards, is you wanna know, well, geez, holy smokes, man, I thought I was gonna be able to charge $50 an hour for this stuff, but when I factor in all this other stuff, jeepers, I'm gonna have to be at $75 an hour. Yeah, you might have to. It wouldn't be unusual. And if that's the case, will you still be competitive? Will you be able to get the contracts and the work that you want to do? But long story short is the idea of do I need business insurance if I have an LLC? Yes, you probably do. Think of the LLC as its own unique entity, but the entity itself is still going to have certain types of insurance, or at least it should, to be covered. So ideally you found some value with this. If you did, please subscribe, like, and share it. If you have questions, always feel free to reach out. You can find us at aspiringsolopreneur.com. Keep smiling.